Buch, let's start with the Celtics and their win over the Sixers.
Yep.
What did we learn about the Celtics and their new head coach?
That they're certainly not distracted from what, number one, that they felt like they had something to prove coming off of last year in the finals. That there was a disappointment. They've come back with a renewed sense. Little, not quite the same, but a little bit like when San Antonio lost to Miami, where they felt like they were in position to win the series, and all of a sudden they weren't, and they ended up losing it. And they came back. There's two ways teams can go with that. They can either feel like we missed our best shot and it's time to go in another direction, or we need to rebuild this thing, or they can say, hey, we're looking for redemption. The Spurs obviously got it, and the Boston Celtics, at least for one night, demonstrated that that they are looking for redemption. It's not kicking them sideways, because they felt at one point during the series against the Warriors they were in position to win that. And then suddenly it turned, thanks to Steph Curry largely. It confirms what I had been told about Joe Mazzulla and what he was capable of, that they weren't going to do a whole lot different in terms of what they do strategically, but that personality-wise, if there was anybody that was going to be able to bring them together, that he is a unifying type guy. Ime got a lot of credit, and deservedly so, for what he did. But I was told that he's kind of like, he's a little bit of a loner. He's a little bit of, I'm going to give you your marching orders, but I'm not going to get particularly close to anybody. Mazzulla approaches this from a different way, and so it's only one game. Philly, I thought, was doing Philly-like things once again. But it is, for one game, it is an encouraging sign that Joe Mazzulla might just be of the temperament that they need to resolve the situation.
Lakers, Warriors. Let's start with the Warriors. I thought Draymond should have been suspended, but then I stopped and when you show up to work and three guys could have gotten a contract extension, the other two guys, including the guy you punched, got a contract extension. You didn't. I think the message is pretty well received. What do you think now, as we've gotten a game in under our belt, as to how the Warriors handled it?
I don't have a problem with the way they handled it, because I don't think this is, first of all, it was a vicious punch. There's no getting around that. For whatever Kevin Durant might say, I've literally seen guys go at it in practices. Not to that extent where one guy just cold cocks the other. I mean, I've been told of at least two of those. But guys throwing hands, I've seen it. And squaring off, I've seen all of that. So there's a part of me that's like, there's this ultra sensitive, oh my God, Draymond, you can't touch hands. Like, it's professional basketball. It's professional sports. It happens. All that said, I think the biggest issue going forward for me is not how the Warriors, whether they suspended him versus fined him. It's that, at least watching last night, Draymond's leadership ability has been compromised. Like, I don't know if he can be the same voice that he's been in the past, and that was a very important voice. Last night, the Warriors played as sloppily as I've seen them play at any point. I mean, it was really just the Lakers were never going to win it, but the Warriors did not impress at all by the way they played. And that would have been the kind of game where Draymond would have been up in the huddle, telling guys, hey, let's bring this together. He would have been very vocal, very visible in terms of encouraging guys or pushing guys or doing whatever. I saw none of that last night, observing, and I was at the game in the huddles. He kind of kept to himself. He was fairly quiet, understandably so. I think they're still working their way back. But that, to me, that's the biggest question I have. is, can Draymond get back to that place where he can be that emotional lightning rod, that guy that galvanizes them when they need somebody to raise the temperature in the room?
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to take that away. I want to play. This is Jordan Poole when he was asked about Draymond had said there'd be an elephant in the room at ring day. Take a listen to what Jordan Poole had to say.
10 days ago, Draymond, when he apologized, he said that there would be an elephant in the room tonight. I'm just wondering, did anything feel awkward, or do you feel like healing has happened?
Yeah, I mean, we went out there. We had a job to do tonight to win a game. It was a ring night, and that's really what we were focused on, to finishing the first game. It was a huge win against a really good team, and the season started, so we got a game in a couple of days.
Yeah, that was about his. That was he asked a question, did not answer the question at all, and completely businesslike. Yeah, I mean,
and that's the way. I was there. I was in the room, and there was the clip you just played doesn't capture the pause that he had after the question was asked. Like, he looked down, and there was a pause. Now, part of that is because, and this has been the party line that I imagine you're going to hear from Jordan Poole every time he's asked. We're going to be professional. We have a championship to win. He has given no more than that. Now, I can also tell you he was upset that the question was asked. Like, he wasn't happy that, like, somebody was digging into that, which I find extraordinary on one hand. Like, you think you're not going to be asked?
You think no one's going to ask that question?
Yeah, no, I thought it was obviously it was a warranted question, and it was based off of something that Draymond Green said. I thought it was perfectly legitimate and well presented. Ann Killian of the San Francisco Chronicle. But I do know that Jordan was like taken aback that he was asked that, and I get the sense that there's going to be this sort of party line. I also talked to Andrew Wiggins about that very same thing. And he said it's really going to come down to how Draymond and Jordan handle it. Like, I think the rest of the team, it's not like it's going to divide the team, young guys versus old guys or any of that. I think it really comes down to, can Jordan and Draymond get past it? And for Draymond, it's like, I have no doubt that Draymond is completely remorseful for what happened. That it was, God, I wish I hadn't done that. There's no part of him that thinks he kind of had it coming. Draymond regrets that he did that to the nth degree. The question that I have, and I have no evidence of it yet, is whether Jordan is genuinely going to forgive him and move on and accept Draymond being the same leader on that team that he was before it happened. Because Jordan accepted and respected that prior. Will he, going forward, now that he has $140 million guaranteed, or whatever the number is, I've seen two different numbers. He's got his guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
And Draymond doesn't. Like, how's that going to affect that dynamic? Because there are times where Draymond has had to tell Jordan, hey, you need to do this, and they needed someone to tell Jordan to do this. Is that going to happen going forward?
Russell Westbrook blamed his preseason injury on coming off the bench. LeBron says they don't really have the shooting. That's kind of obvious. And in the debut of their head coach, didn't appear like there was anything dynamic or dramatic in terms of changing the defensive mindset. What was your thoughts now seeing the Lakers live in their first game of the season?
They might be worse than I thought they were going to be, and I thought they were a play-in team. Look, only two teams got worse than them from last year, the Jazz and the Spurs. The Kings might be better. So that puts them, 10th in the league as of right now. And they're at a huge disadvantage because they can't defend the three and they can't shoot the three. And that's the biggest element in the game today. So LeBron and AD, who look good in their mid-post ISO, step-back mid-range jumpers, hitting that as well as anybody in the league. Like I was watching last night, Warriors are more than happy to trade threes for twos. Like, okay, you want to slow down and get those guys the ball in the mid-post and have them take mid-range jumpers? We're not going to double that. We're good because we're going to come down and Jordan Poole or Steph or Clay or Andrew Wiggins. We're going to be hitting threes. You're going to be hitting twos. So look, I agree with Westbrook. You're asking him to do something he hasn't done in 14 years. As you know, it's a different thing coming into a game off the bench versus starting a game when you only know one thing. So do I think it's legit? Yes. Do I think that Russell Westbrook has anything to do with the problems that the Warriors or the Lakers have? He was 1 for 3 from 3 last night. I think the rest of the starting lineup was like 4 for 21. They shot 10 for 40 collectively, while the Warriors shot 36, 30, 38%. Like, that's the story. We want to focus on Westbrook or that AD can be the difference maker or LeBron's still great. Like, LeBron and AD can shoot 70% and average 60 points and 20 rebounds between them, and it will have absolutely no effect on winning.
No, I'm going to disagree with you in terms of he didn't have anything to do with it. I mean, the defense is still bad. Right? There's no other way to explain it.
But everybody, like, that's not just Russ. Like, LeBron's not defending. AD's getting beat. Like, the guys that you would consider their best defenders are not putting in a consistent effort. There's somebody breaking down somewhere all the time. And is Russ a contributing factor? Without question. But I'm with Chuck in terms of
their bench is a joke.
And we're looking at, like, this is all Russ Westbrook's fault, and if he gets traded, like, it's going to galvanize this team or change them dramatically. They're not particularly athletic. They don't shoot the three. They don't defend the three. Those three things alone for where the expectations are for the Lakers, where are you going with that? Like, looking at the teams in the West, like if Minnesota, they played them in the preseason game. Minnesota didn't have Rudy Gobert or Karl Anthony Towns. Minnesota wasn't even particularly locked in. And same thing with the Warriors last night. The Lakers came back with their starting lineup the final 2.5 minutes or so of the first quarter. AD and LeBron come back on the floor. And Steve Kerr was like, I'm good with JaMychal Green and James Wiseman and Kuminga and Dante DiVincenzo and rightfully so. They outscored them. That group outscored LeBron, AD, and Russ in the final 2 minutes of the first quarter. It helped me understand why I should have any faith that something dramatically different than what we saw last night is going to happen with the Lakers.
You shouldn't. Ric Bucher, Fox Sports 1, NBA insider for FoxSports.com. Bucher, great stuff. Thanks for joining us.